I certainly don't know for a fact that Tulsi Gabbard was involved in the murder of Susan Kennedy, but the ventriloquism that came my way seemed like her conjure. Now, there is an issue that arises from Liz Truss's little sorority of berserkers. I can just imagine long ago when the sacred Swami of special insight derived from holding hands in a Gurdjieff circle convinced Patricia Fripp that James Curry of Pitt News had a psychological angling going with his criticism of Reagan. He was special pleading for his um, what was it that was put no well it wasn't pushing they said used the word pushing. I'm trying to think what the right word well, no it wasn't a stunt. No, stunt is it was let me think, crying about being rejected boyfriend. So he was going after Reagan, uh, dislocate this um, displaced displacement of his um, need to prove his pale queer white not queer no queer is sacred martial pale queer baitness because of rejection from Leslie, the erotic goddess of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Patricia's fabrication has to do with their Edgar Cayce media um, crystal ball. Two interrelated, unrelated phenomenon cannot be interrelated by time without having innate revelation, the cerebellum vibrating through from the beyond. So I'll have to walk you through the two things. I was in the medical library clerk and AIDS came in, and that hit me in a place that really predated my even knowing who Leslie Katz was. Because the 60s were gone by 1984. But and Reagan was in office, and oh, he hated the 60s. I mean, he hated the hippies. People like me, he hated us. Liberals, he scorned us. My dad died, and they were heaping insult after insult. He was scribbling up the back of his obituary like nothing was real. And staking me out, Elizabeth Taylor lookalikes to pin me as to blame for the disappearing act of Lenin. And oh, we'll get away from the delusion and say his murder. No, we won't get away from it, remember? The same people who tortured me and who worked with Reagan are the ones who framed me for no, their cautions. But how did they do it with Leslie Katz? Well, there's a peep of truth to what Roger Waters and Oliver Stone and their dangle have going. You know, I'm obviously they have it set up so that oh they can do like this right there. Oh, it's Ukrainians. Oh, it's Boris Putin. Oh, when somebody snaps out a queer ball again. What is the reality? The interconnectedness, huh? Well, I hung my hat on my admiration for Ken Crimson. I don't want to make any observations or what's the right word? I don't want to share any perceptions about that because it'll get some people all out of bed and they'll jump into their fireman's outfit and slide down the pole and run into the streets. I'm going to twist my ankle. Yeah, but I know their trivia and that I now realize they're influential, but they're more obscure than at least they seemed when I was growing up more obscure than the Doobie Brothers and other hard, you know, more important groups like the Allman Brothers and stuff. So I felt like I had the comfort of my own idea of things by listening to Passad. And I certainly didn't realize that the Passad adventure was going on behind the scenes as part of a Kluckenstein group in Access Hollywood, which it was. I do know that now. In those days, I didn't even know that Ian Watmaker would put together that he was a neurosurgeon. It was 1984, you know. In terms of real practices, Pete could have said, I mean, you know, Roz Katz would give me a ride home. She knew me. She knew all about my hang up. She wrote me a card, so I'm sorry about the rift between you and Leslie when Leslie banged Ken. She gave me a ride home. She knew the whole story. So did her father. He used to run red lights deliberately when he was driving me home when we were still dating. So, you know, Pitt could have said, you know, our parents are concerned about you. We want you to see a psychologist. I would have checked right in with the psychologist. I understand. That's okay. No, they want me to see Matt Marcus because the Kaplans have some more court orders. And he scribbles up his elevator, beat me, make me write bad checks. And Greenham are everywhere. And they have Howard Stern going. Then you say, I heard Reagan on the radio one day, and I thought it was a comedy act from the Red Scare. And they said, no, that's an address about the railroad union by that monster. But they were getting into it. But I had the word the monster by that personality cult figure. And it was the bizarrest thing I'd ever heard. Like, I mean, back in those days, I could still hear a little bit. And I was like, my God, that person is in office now. And so, you know, I just thought somebody needs to take a pen editorialize. And I realized I wasn't in the best shape. I mean, my editorials are awkward. They have moments. And I interviewed Peter. I was appreciative. You know, so, well, how did it look? It looked probably the way it was. There's this kid who thinks he made a good impression on Fripp, who also liked Genesis and realized they're friends. So we're in the perfect position to play the enemy and tear his head off for getting anywhere near Fripp because Fripp secretly hates him. They have this dude wrestling, working with Shulman, wrestling me to the ground. You know, you work like a in my ear and saying, you like King Peter Gabriel, he don't like you, ha 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 ha. You know, which is what they're saying about, you know, the people like believe you like believe she don't like you. You know, it's all set up to do that by Trumpy and his friends, and they all call themselves realists and stuff. But what's this phenomenon? Well, yeah, they got that poem out of me about free speech, you know, like I'll be a photon, and you know, it's just play on words. And they would say, oh, we're going to make it sacred timeless. We're going to blow up the mountain because he said on the sacred script that we kept it there to prove that the Holy Weasel is the ambassador of the spirit and planet Earth is transient and has no other meaning and so on and so forth. You know, it's just a poem. You know, they're like throwing birds at me to, you know, and getting this wire and the feedback loops back to, from girls with guns and Sarah Becker to Pino gave us um, beloved Leslie Katz and liberal religious youth the other way. And there was Amy and Shapiro chanting, rape, kill, pillage, burn, eat babies out in the woods at the top of her lungs. Right. Yeah, and you're supposed to believe that Queerball was a Manchurian candidate who was after Reagan, like Mark David Chapman. And the fact that he gave some kid a fat lip, there was a delayed reaction when the kid came at him with scissors. That delay could mean anything. So we need to grind the stone some more. And so they set up spy cam peeps and call up all the kids who had brutally tortured me, drag me through glass. They said that to me. They laughed. They dragged them through glass. Oh, these were the angels of light, dragging queer bait through glass. Oh, funny. Everybody laughed. And he wants to get even, and he's plotting. It doesn't seem to have occurred to Patricia Fripp. The Reagan's horrible characterizations of the innocent people in Central America might have contributed to the hate that led to the murder of Archbishop Romero, Benjamin Linder, and others, Catholic priests. And that might have offended me. That might have really bothered me. Maybe I missed JFK in my thumb sucking masturbations. Maybe that was what was wrong. And I was displacing that by threatening Leslie Old Katz. And how did I threaten her? By saying I disagreed with her, that she had the right to leave me, that she didn't. I agreed with her minions, with her law school. I disagreed with her in her law school. She did have the right to leave me. I didn't have the right to ask her to stay. And I know that I'm not going to try to push her. But she would come back and visit me and make out with me and say, thank you, your letter's, and then she'd send the outside and go, your letter's a little bit wacko. I told her she was wrong to make fun of me. I felt that she was coy. She was like, why should you get another chance? Like they didn't know they were taunting somebody who was in pain from being rejected. Wow. That's a stretch, Matt Marcus. And Celine Dion says he didn't like Reagan, so we have to be loyal to the man who burned girls' arms gangrenous, like Matt Marcus did, because Queerbo was cringing when she really wanted a man to take her. And he didn't understand that. And he thinks he understands it now. So there's going to be a delayed reaction. He's going to pounce on the tree like a cat. And they're making these things up and acting them out. Probably the stupidest thing I ever did was not make the moves on Ming No Wen. Because hell has no fury like a woman spurned. She was in my bed, yeah. I didn't make them moves on her. I was like, Christ, on some Oriental bomb, land in my bed. We'll just talk and go play pool. That's fine with me. And it did occur to me that proves rape too. It occurred to me, somewhere in the cerebellum sauce of the Edgar Cayce dimension of Ronald Reagan's proof that nuclear bombs are innocent, virginity is right, that not making moves on Ming No Wen proved rape too. So there we have it. Patricia Fripp was right. He was a Manchurian candidate. By not making moves on Ming No Wen, he proved that nuclear bombs are innocent. And virginity proves right.